Hello and welcome back to the She is Courageous podcast. Right, let's talk about control. This isn't just for business owners, and this is not just about controlling your business or in your work. This is about control in business, in work, in life. Because I guess if you're anything like me, which I know many of you are, that's why we're here, right? Because we resonate, because we relate. And when I think about so many of the women I work with, we have realised that the line between business and life is pretty damn thin. And when uncertainty shows up in one or the other, it tends to bleed across. And what I mean by that is, that's why I'm saying this isn't about business, this isn't about life, this is about both, okay? Because they're interwoven. And I know that very often I talk in these podcasts about business stuff, because a lot of the people that listen to this are business owners, because I'm a business owner. But actually at the core of everything I'm talking about, mindset, this isn't just about business, this is about life. So I want to talk about control today. I want to talk about uncertainty, because I know that when uncertainty shows up in one, be that business or life, it absolutely bleeds isn't a very nice word, is it? But it bleeds into the other side too. So, maybe you are running a business, but you're also looking after your family. You're holding space for everyone around you. And then what happens when something shifts? There's a lot going on in the world right now. And lots of people are talking about how it feels heavy. There's a lot going on economically. I'm having so many conversations around money feels tight. I've worked with so many people where plans fall apart. I've got clients myself who've got clients who've gone quiet. Things we cannot control. And what happens? We start questioning everything. Not just in the business, but actually in who we are. So today is about that moment. It's that moment when the things that are happening are out of our control, but the impact is that we start questioning ourselves. It's that moment where it all just starts to feel a bit too much. When our mindset starts to run in the wrong direction, and quite frankly, we probably have a bit of a physical reaction too. And what happens is we start saying things like, well, maybe I just need to give it up. Maybe I just need to wait. Maybe I just need to figure this out first. Maybe I just need to accept. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I can give you all the maybes, right? We've all been there where we start questioning ourselves because of things we cannot control. But this whole episode today is about reminding you that when there is uncertainty, when we are not in complete control, it's not when we stop. Instead, it's when we lead. And I don't just mean in your business, and I don't just mean as a leader of people. If you've got people, you need to up your game in terms of leading them as well. But actually, I mean lead in your mind, lead in your home, lead in your body, lead in your choices, lead yourself. Because when everything feels uncertain, the first thing we actually do is try to control. We grip tighter, we plan harder, we obsess over things, we obsess over the outcomes or what other people are doing. But that need for control is fear. It's a fear in disguise. It's not a very good disguise, if I'm really honest with you. And that fear, I mean, yes, it will start to affect. Let's think of some specifics. In your business, it probably starts to affect how you price things or how you are messaging. It affects how you speak to yourself. It affects how you start to show up in your day, be that from a work capacity or a personal capacity. It affects how you start to treat the people around you. It becomes the energy you carry everywhere. Fear is an absolute bugger. And I want to talk about how you can redirect that. So remember what I'm saying here, right? I started talking, just knocked my own mic out of the way. That's my hands everywhere if you're watching me on YouTube. I started talking about control. I've talked about uncertainty. But what I'm actually saying is it's fear. That control, that feeling that we need to be in control, that feeling of uncertainty. They're not things, these are all feelings. all based in fear. So how do we redirect it? Well, you know that I love to talk about our brain, right? When things are uncertain, when things feel that they are uncertain, your brain goes into protection mode. Okay? Remember, your brain's job is to keep you safe. It's to keep you alive. So what might seem overdramatic is not. Your brain is just doing its job. Your brain is scanning for danger and trying to keep you safe. And it's sensing you shifting and thinking differently. It's sensing the fear that's triggered by the uncertainty. So how does this show up in real life, right? So uncertainty in business. It can show up like actually starting to like really hustle harder, even though you're exhausted and probably not very productively. Or conversely, good old self-sabotage, so like practically ghosting your own goals because they feel too hard, too out of reach, ridiculous in the current environment. Freezing, like we talk about freeze, flight, what is it? Fight, flight, freeze? Like freezing and convincing yourself that, if I stop, clarity will appear. I just need to wait. People pleasing, to feel safe. In business, in friendships, in family. These are all protection patterns. But the thing is, they're not where your best decisions come from. Not in your business and definitely not in your life. And then let's just throw in the mix the noise that we live in today's world. We absorb so much that isn't ours. We've got so much information, we've got so much insight into what everybody else is thinking that before we know it, someone else's worry becomes our story. A post you see, like on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or whatever, it changes your entire launch strategy. Or you take on a client's fear or another, a fellow, I'm a coach, so we'll talk coaches, you take on a fellow coach's fear and carry it like it's your job to fix it. So yes, those are business examples, right? Because that's probably where this plays out the most. But we do this in life as well, Like you spend enough time with people who are worrying about their finances, who are painting the picture, and I'm not saying it's not true pictures for people, okay? But whose narrative is all about how hard it is right now, how economically they're having to watch every single penny. You start to pick that up. We start to make someone else's mood our responsibility. We adjust our boundaries to keep the peace. We start saying yes even when we want to say no. We start doing things that aren't aligned to who we want to be, how we want to be. We start holding what isn't ours and layering that on top of fear that was our own in the first place. I want to ask you, I'm just literally sitting here and the question I've got is, if you're really honest with yourself, what are you holding that isn't even yours? Because this is about control and uncertainty. Whose uncertainty have you picked up and started to try and control? And what do you need to do to put it down? Because I'll be honest, you've got your own. You don't need someone else's. We've all got our own stuff. We've got our own fears born out of everything we've already experienced and seen. And when we're watching what everybody else is doing and picking theirs up, we're just layering it on top. So we have to start to put some stuff down. Now I could talk all metaphorically, but actually I want to give you some practical things because I am very aware that there is a lot going on in the world right now. I am very aware that economically there are challenges right now. I'm not going to pretend that business is easy. I'm not going to sit here and say business is really tough, but I'm going to say, of course it's hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But if we take on those narratives, if we live those and believe those, then we won't move forward and do anything. We have to decide to show up differently. We have to decide to face into those realities that we cannot control and really think about what can we control. So I just want to give you a few things that you could do this week that will support your mindset and your momentum, not just in business, but in life, and really help you free yourself a little bit from what you cannot control. Okay, so really simple and practical. The first thing that I would encourage you to do, if you are feeling a bit like There is so much happening around you, and you're almost, what's that phrase we talk about? Is it happening to you or for you? If you are feeling in a bit of like, all of this is happening to me and it's all out of my control and I don't know what to do, here's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to audit your energy. And I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room, all right? There's a lot of talk around financials right now. There is a lot of talk about business being tough. I'm hearing lots of people talking about, do I need to start changing my prices? No, I don't think you do, but that's probably a different podcast. But actually, there is a lot of conversation, and I get it. It's real for many people around financial insecurity right now. So my recommendation would be that you audit, forgive the really practical word there, your energy and your expenses. So where is your money going? Where is your time going? Where's your energy going? What's draining you? What's fueling you? Be really honest and make decisions from that place, not from uncertainty and fear, but from a place of honesty, from a place of knowing, from a place of fact. If you're worrying about your money, go look at where is your money going. If you're worried about how there's never enough time to do anything, look at where your time is going. If you're feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, look at where your energy is going. What is draining you? What's fueling you? The second thing that I would then say is, I don't know how to word this actually, simplify is basically what I want to say. And I mean simplify what you are doing and your expectations of yourself. So what do I mean? I guess what I mean is, what are you making really complicated right now? What are you overthinking and making bigger than it needs to be? Where can you strip back? Like, where can you simplify your life, your business? So whether it is literally your offers in your business or your schedule, your daily routine, make it simpler. Simplicity creates clarity, right? What happens when we're in uncertainty and we feel like things are out of control is we grip tightly, we try and do everything, and we just end up like with a finger in every single pie, like just total lack of clarity. What's the absolute opposite of clarity? Confusion. There you go. The third thing, I'm going to say show up. And I mean, like in business, I mean visibility, okay? If you are finding it challenging right now, if you are wondering like what to do about all the things around you, I would really ask you, are you visible? If you are worried about your business, you have to be visible. People don't know what they don't know. If you don't tell them, they cannot buy into anything that you have to offer. In life, showing up might just mean being present. Whether that's for you or your family, I don't know. Just see what this is bringing up for you. So show up for yourself, show up for your business, have the conversation. Tell the truth if you want to tell the truth. Show up for you in whatever capacity you need to show up right now. What I would recommend in times of uncertainty where we can get into confusion rather than clarity is setting one weekly focus. Now, I talk a lot about this in the 𝐷𝐸𝐿 Collective. I very often talk about, you can have loads and loads of goals, but if you're trying to achieve all of them at the same time, you will achieve nothing. So very often at the beginning of a week, I will say, what one thing do you want to achieve this week? Whether it's a financial goal or a boundary that someone wants to hold or a habit that someone wants to make progress on. And again, like make that weekly focus achievable. Focus builds belief, okay? Because what happens is when we focus, we make small steps forward. So we have to stop trying to do everything at once. Stop trying to fix everything at once. Stop trying to control everything. Take one thing, focus, and do something with that one thing. And then my final tip, if you like, is find a way to anchor yourself daily. And this is coming from someone who doesn't find this particularly easy to do. I don't mean, when I talk about anchoring, I don't mean like to feel calm. I don't mean you've got to meditate and things like that. I just mean have a stopping moment, a stopping point. Whether that's taking a breath. How can you anchor yourself back to your values, your voice? It might be journaling. It might be going for a walk. It might be a voice note to yourself. It might be having your playlist of your top 3 songs that just bring you back. What I mean by anchoring is bringing you back. If you can feel, because many of you are really self-aware, right? You know when this stuff is happening. You know when you are feeling like you're losing control, trying to grab hold of everything. Like, what can you do to bring yourself back? So I know I had a client who, it was her idea, not mine. She had a playlist. She created a playlist. It had 3 songs on it, and they were her 3, like, they would just stop her in her tracks. One would make her sing out loud, but what they did was they stopped her trying to fix what she was fixing, gave her a moment to just stop and go, right, okay, what am I trying to do? You cannot lead your life from chaos. So what can you do what can be your daily thing that you know you can just pull on will anchor you? These are habits. These tips: audit your expenses, your energy, simplify both what you're trying to achieve and your expectations of what you're trying to achieve. Show up for you. Set a weekly focus. Anchor yourself on a daily basis. Really simple habits. When you build these things into your life, they change the way that you think. They change the way that you respond and react. Look, life will always keep shifting. Plans will fall through. People will do things that you don't like. People will disappoint you. People will change their mind. People will make decisions. The economy will continue to dip, rise. Clients will change their mind. Business will be a roller coaster. Life will be a roller coaster. You can't control any of that. You can only control the choice you make in how you show up in the midst of that. And that's self-leadership. That's what that looks like. So wherever you are right now, in business, in life, in your head, I'm going to remind you, you don't have to have it all figured out. I'm going to remind you, you cannot control everything. I'm going to remind you, you do not need to control everything. You just need to come back to you and take the next step, however small it is. And yes, I'm going to do it. If you need support with that, if actually what you could really do with is a space where when you're in that spiral moment, someone can help you come back to you. That's what the She Is Courageous Collective is all about. That is exactly what we do in there. That is exactly why you have me as the host coach, the coach host. I'm not even sure what the right words for that are. But that's what I give to the ladies in the collective. They know they can come into that safe space if something comes along as a curveball, if they can feel themselves going in the wrong direction on something they cannot do something about, because the only thing you can do anything about is you. Let me know if this episode resonated with you. Let me know if this is what you're feeling right now. There is a lot going on in the world around us. But remember, you cannot control what is happening outside of you. You can only control the choices you make about what is inside of you.